Welcome to The Way Left. This pod is Rogan von Schultz. Stupid or suckers? So who are these people? Most people know Joe Rogan does his podcast, Fear Factory. He's Dana White's little man on the side. He's into MMA. He did, again, a Fear Factory. I guess he did a show on television. They call him a comic. So we're going to talk about him and his feelings on Trump and the stuff that he spewed on his wonderful podcast, the Joe Rogan Bro Incel MMA Ivermectin podcast. We're going to talk about Theo Vaughn. He has his podcast and how he pushed for Trump and how he's come back on that and some of the things that he said. Again, these guys are all comics. Andrew Schultz, another one. This was the big push at the end of 2024, helped Trump get elected with males, young males, 18 to 29. And I'll talk about what they said, how they trusted him, how they believed in him. And now, of course, what they're saying is, I didn't vote for this. And we'll talk about that. Again, stupid or suckers. Or I guess I could add both, right? So we're going to deep dive into that. And the reason I wanted to dive in it is because there is this notion, there is this platform that people have. I'm on a platform, a podcast. And what I will tell you is I say what I mean. I back it up with study. I obviously have opinions. I read, I watch, I do research. And what I won't say is don't listen to me because I'm stupid or why would anybody listen to me? So let me give you an example. Joe Rogan has constantly said, well, why would anybody listen to me when he says this or that? That's not true. He has conspiracy theorists on that blame Winston Churchill for the World War II, that he has, Holocaust deniers on his podcast. And he's like, it's just interesting to look into conspiracy theories. So you'll have anybody on. Never know if they're lying. I guess that's one way to look at a platform, right? But he says this, well, when he fucks up or says dumb shit, which constantly happens, and that's okay. People fuck up, but you have a big platform. And he says, well, you don't have to listen to me. I'm an idiot. Well, Howard Stern did the same thing, right? He was a big fan of Donald Trump, liked talking to Trump with his daughter there, talking about, would you have sex or is your daughter sexy? And now, of course, Howard Stern's come all the way back around and said, oh, I hate this guy. You shouldn't have listened to me. I was an idiot. I didn't know what I was talking about. That's not a fucking excuse out of it, man. Do your research. Know the person. We all have bad judgments, but it's an easy read on Donald Trump. If you don't get a read on a guy who's been bankrupt multiple times, who has paid no contest charges on his charities, on his university, who's been accused of sexual assault over 20 times, lied about fucking Stormy Daniels right after his wife had a kid, paid her $150,000, and then that was come out of campaign finance funds. And that's the funny thing about Donald Trump and people that believe him. It's not that he cheated on his wife, and not that he cheated on his wife with a stripper, which is all bad, especially right after she has a baby, but anytime, right? The Christian Bible-holding Donald Trump. But the fact is he denies doing it. So this guy, think about this, paid $150,000 to a woman that he didn't fuck for her to hush up. Now, let me tell you, you got to be pretty fucking stupid to pay a woman $150,000 not to fuck her when she's there to fuck you, right? So I spin it the other way. Oh, maybe he didn't fuck her, but he gave her $150,000 to hush up. What, because like South Park is going to show your small penis, you couldn't get it up? What? So give me a fucking break. And then these guys especially come out and say, we're backing Trump. And then 3 or 4 months later, they're like, fuck. This is not what he said. Well, let me explain something to Andrew Schultz, Theo Vaughn, and Joe Rogan. Do your fucking research. Don't be stupid. Did you read Project 2025? Did you do any background on Kevin Roberts and Russell Vaught? Did you see that he invited Nick Fuentes to dinner? And I'm sure you like getting some of that Nick Fuentes crowd on there. I see that Joe Rogan talked about how good his ratings were when Trump was on. Does he really give a fuck who that's influenced? He's part of that bro incel culture. Hey, man, fuck yeah, man, I'm MMA. Dana White can slap his wife in public. Everything's fine, man. It's cool. He's a good guy. I mean, people that slap their wife in public, I'm sure they never put their hands on her at home, but he's a good guy. Hey, Donald Trump's not bad. There's 26 sexual assault cases. Oh, I didn't have time to read Project 2025, which basically told me the script of everything he was going to do. And then I backed him. And then I said, oh, man, I didn't vote for this, man. Why did anybody listen to me, man? Give me a fucking break. I mean, it's ridiculous. So another piece of advice for those listening. So if you want comedy, intelligent comedy, fun comedy, if you want it political and you want it intelligent, you don't listen to Andrew Schultz, Joe Rogan, and Theo Vaughn. You listen to Andrew Schultz, I guess, because he has some comedic stuff. Ugh, I guess. You listen to Joe Rogan for MMA, for the bro shit, maybe for some workouts, to Andrew Huberman, maybe, drink some bleach and ivermectin with RFK while you're doing some heroin. Cool. He's a good host. Theo Vaughn with Cat Williams, funny shit. But if you really want good comedic, political, intelligent humor, you just need to watch one South Park episode. And it's better than anything these three have done in their entire lives put to fucking together. Just South Park. Watch one or two episodes, and it will be better than all the content that these three fuckers have ever created outside of those little realms that I talk about. So, you can watch the Tony Hinchcliffe show. I mean, Gillis is funny. Rogan's a musclehead. I guess you like it. I get it. But a bit of advice. If you want anything on science, hardcore science that's not besides trying to make your muscles big, or if you want intelligent political conversation, Theo Vaughn says he's doing for the lost kids. Hey, the lost kids, you know what you need to do is you need to vote for a right-wing extremist, autocrat and Donald Trump. And that'll make your world better because Kamala Harris wouldn't come on our podcast, so that's why I'm voting for him. Well, they'll give you a bunch of other fucking reasons, and now, of course, those reasons have turned. Bullshit. Bullshit on Howard Stern. You're better than that. Or I think you are. Or are you stupid and a sucker? Right? We've all made mistakes. We all say stupid shit. But there's a consistency to the vitriol that comes across, that talks down to people. Gets Elon Musk on there and talks how Twitter's opened the doors. Just watch the feed. Yeah, we're going to back Elon Musk as he calls the left murder. So who's on the left? Everybody but MAGA and Elon? So that's okay? That's freedom of speech? Okay, bro. Let's go, bro, man. Shit, man. I'm not going to recommend any books, dude, man. Let's go down to MMA, do some BJJ, dude. Do some steroids, do some fucking human growth hormone, and we can meet up with RFK and do some heroin. I'm not suggesting they promote heroin, but RFK Jr. did heroin for like 15 years. So that's the guy we put in head of our HHS, and this is the guy some of these guys back. So let's go through what some of these guys say. And also, these guys are into Candace Owens, a conspiracy theorist, crazy right-wing. I think they've had Alex Jones. Why would you have Alex Jones on your podcast ever? He's just a liar. It's like Noam Chomsky said to Lex Friedman. Lex Friedman does a great podcast when he stays off politics mostly. But I love his podcast. He's a little influenced too much by Joe when it comes to the podcasting or going out and reaching out to people from the right wing. Again, these are people that live in Texas that have taken away basically all women's rights for pro-choice. Now, it doesn't affect Rogan because he can take his private plane, and if his girls or anybody he knows needs it, he can fly into California without retribution from Greg Abbott. I get it. They're in the blueberry. They love Texas, but they just happen to be in the blueberry of Texas, Austin. Boy, they really love Texas. Then move to West Texas, bro. If you really love Texas, get in that MAGA shit. So you're an orange ass clown, but you hide it. You got orange all over you. Okay. Kind of going off deep end. I'm kind of pulling a Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz, Theo Vaughn here and just punching people in the teeth about what they say. But the good thing is they've said it and then they change their fucking mind about a very big deal, about a fucking insurrectionist, about a guy who denies that he lost the election. Lex Friedman called him out on it. Lex Friedman, who's a great guy, called him the great dealer, that he's going to solve Ukraine in a day on his podcast. There's nothing great about the art of the deal. He went bankrupt 6 to 7 times. He inherited $400 to $700 million. I mean, fuck. That's not meritocracy. Believe me, that's nepotism. That's aristocracy. They know better, but they don't care. Guess what? Their ratings went up. They made a lot of money. They love the bro culture, just like Elon Musk loves the bro culture on X. He loves the vitriol. The algorithm feeds it. Get the hate up. Get me more content. Get me more people to influence. Maybe we can get Benny Johnson in there, the right-wing Christian guy who's trying to get in the mix. Maybe they could have Nick Fuentes on. He could talk about, the end of the world and the new Christian right. The new Christian right. Christian right has always been that way. Christian evangelical nationalism is authoritarianism, is racism, is xenophobia. And these guys happen to fall in that group sometimes. Right? So let's go to the simple thing. Andrew Schultz, who was a big fan of how Trump went on the media tour, right? And he talks about what Trump does. So I'm just going to pull this up. He talks about how Kamala was edited, right? That it wasn't like free from. I agree with you. Kamala Harris didn't run a good campaign. Wasn't really given a chance by Joe Biden. We can go into that. But Trump had a connection. The comedian added that voters came out to support Trump because of the connection. And the reason they voted for Biden is because they stayed in their house. So what was the connection to Trump? Let's see. Racism? Oh, so we get the bro. We get the 18 to 29-year-old white males. Let's see what else. What other connection do they have? Andrew? Oh, you visit Texas? Oh, they don't want women's rights. They're down with that. Hey, let's go get those immigrants no matter what cost. Is that the connection? The orange ass clown? And then he was pissed. This is a guy, Andrew Schultz, who came out to Trump and laughed at him when Trump says he doesn't lie, because he knows that's all he does is lie. This is the guy who said he wanted to make sure because his wife, because of IVF, which I'm a supporter of, IVF to have babies, that Trump would support that. Of course, that went down the tubes, right? Because you gotta appease that Nick Fuentes far right biblical bullshit. And now he's pissed. He says, Trump voter Andrew Schultz can't believe Trump isn't doing what he campaigned on. The guy laughed at him when he said he wasn't a liar. So why are you surprised? Are all you doing is writing jokes? Because Andrew Schultz seems to be an intelligent, so does Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn. Are you just a sucker? So maybe you're not stupid. Maybe you're a little blinded by that orange. Did he spread it on you? I mean, I don't know what happened there. You guys snorting orange cocaine with Trump? What the fuck? I can't believe Trump isn't doing what he campaigned on. And you laughed at him when he said he wasn't a liar, knowing that he's a liar. But you're shocked. Woo! I love it, man. Just can't believe it. Trump is not doing the things he promised to do. As if there weren't a bounty of evidence out there already that this is exactly what was going to happen. Andrew. Thanks, bro. I hope you got good ratings on your podcasts. He said on the Flagrant podcast, everything he campaigned on, I believe he wanted to do. Really? So you know he's a liar, but he wanted to do that. So he lied to you to get elected. And now he's doing the exact opposite thing of every single fucking thing. Who could have possibly seen that? Everybody but you, Andrew. You fucking jackass. He's receiving DMs telling him, you voted for this? Says he voted for none of this. So you voted for a narcissistic, lying, wife-cheating, fucking felon who doesn't support, thinks the 2020 election was was rigged and was false and he won, that supported the January 6th insurrection, but you just can't believe that he's doing this to you. I want him to stop the wars. He's funding them. I want him to shrink spending, reduce the budget. He's increasing it. It's like everything that he said he's going to do, except sending immigrants back, and this is all Andrew Schultz. And now he's even flopped on that, which I kind of like. Oh, that's because you don't like armed people showing up that just got trained yesterday? Again, watch South Park episodes. Pretty good on it. Andrew, if you want to see some comedy in politics that actually means something instead of what you're spewing out of your mouth. Again, who could have possibly seen all that coming? So did you know his cabinet? Did you know who Stephen Miller was? What Stephen Miller has said? Did you read before you have him on, or were you just looking at fucking ratings? Main focus, Trump's flip-flop on a release of the Epstein files. He never flip-flopped. He just lied to you. He was never going to release to him. You're shocked that he lied to you. That lends me to think maybe you're stupid and a sucker. So, I mean, I could go on and on. This is just about Schultz. In all seriousness, after playing that preference of Schultz, in all seriousness, that is what's enraging people now. It's insulting to our intelligence. No, it's enraging the idiots that are stupid enough and a big enough sucker to believe anything that comes out of the orange Ascon's face, out of his mouth. But you must have rubbed when he shook his hand, he got all that orange, it like took over. And, I'm going to vote for you. You're great. You're really great for 18 to 29. You're going to be great for this country. We're not on the road to autocracy. We don't want to read Tim Snyder's books on it or Ann Applebaum's books on it or listen to Sam Harris or listen to David Frum. What we want to do is we want to write jokes and make our own opinions and then bitch about it when it doesn't go the way we want. Well, fuck you, stupid or sucker. I'm going to let the audience determine that. I've done stupid things and I've been a sucker. But when it comes to leadership, when it comes to people I have to trust in the government, which I believe in, I'm not stupid and I'm not a sucker. Thousands of books, thousands of views on videos, on documentaries. I'm not saying Kamala Harris was the answer, but you're telling me the world's better off with Donald Trump? Is that what you're telling me? Sucker. All right. That's Andrew Schultz. I mean, we can do damn, that's almost a whole podcast just on Andrew Schultz. Spewing all that stuff. I mean, he's basic. I just can't, we can't believe he did do this to us. I mean, it's fucking hilarious. Right? I mean, it's like I don't even know what it's like. Stupid or sucker. Okay. Theo Vaughn, who's actually, he's the funny one out of this group. With him and Cat Williams, that just kills it. Guy's a good podcaster. Again, if he stayed off politics and he does this bro culture stuff, he does think about kids that, so there are a lot of people out there that are watching too much. They're on the fucking phone. I get it. Scott Galloway's doing a lot of great things on this. I have books on my website about this. Jonathan Haidt talking about this, where social media is really hurting people under 30. It's bad. I get it. They do talk about some of that stuff. Then they talk about Jordan Peterson and bring him in. Jordan Peterson being, as far as I'm concerned, a quack job from Canada. I mean, he talks about making your bed. You're right. You should make your bed. But other than that, the whole Christian theocracy road, blah, different podcast. But Jordan Peterson's part of this mix too. Kind of the bro culture, incels, man, and celibates. They hang out at home. Excuse me. They watch Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz, and Theo Vaughn tell him, and Jordan Peterson, please vote for Trump. He's going to save the world. Yeah, he's going to save the world for him, a few of his cronies, and for a lot of white Christian nationals. Now his immigration policy, this is Donald Trump's, and I'm sure Andrew Schultz is shocked at this, is he's going to let white people in from South Africa because they're oppressed, the country that ran apartheid for years, and Chinese students, but he's not going to let anybody else in. And he's going to send people to gulags before they even get due process or habeas corpus or get tried and find out if they're actually guilty. And just so you know, if you're here illegally, it's a misdemeanor. It's not a felony. felony. So we're shipping people to gulags in some cases for misdemeanors. So don't get pulled over without your passport. Theo Vaughn, kind of a funny looking guy, used to be a big Sanders guy, switched over to Donald Trump. Imagine. So I think Joe Rogan did this, and even Lex Friedman, who I don't know who he voted for, but he definitely did a terrible podcast with Donald Trump and told him how great he was, and he did call him out on the election, but didn't really hold him to it. And, Vaughn would criticize identity politics and sheds lights on his concerns within the Democratic Party. So identity politics is back to what I talked about, is that you just pick certain groups and you try to, identity politics is like, oh, we're going to save trans and then we're just going to move on to these groups instead of doing a group. I get it. Some Democrats did a bad job at that. Well, let me tell you what MAGA is the biggest identity politics. You have to loyalty pledge if you want to work for Trump. That's identity politics. Essentially, you got to be white. That's identity politics. There is no more conservative. They don't care if you're a fucking conservative. You have to be MAGA. So they're the extreme form of identity politics. One fucking group. We're not letting anybody. They don't want diversity, equity, or inclusion at any level. And it's not meritocracy. Let's call it suck on the orange ass clown's dictocracy. That's what that is. So I get it, what Theo Vaughn was saying, right? But this is a man that worked from Sanders to Trump and told us how great he was, right? And he wanted to have polarizing figures. Of course, he got 15 million views when he interviewed Trump. And he talked about these discussions range from Trump's stance on healthcare reform to his friendship with notable individuals, offering a broad spectrum of topics that draw public interest, right? And Vaughn is pushing to say, I'm against the Democratic Party. And he's worried about men and TikTok. I get it, right? But, of course, he's as shocked as Andrew Schultz, but his is even better. He got his image in the Department of Homeland Security deportation campaign. So Theo Vaughn was part of that video. Well, let's be clear. It's kind of what you get. Right? Isn't it what you get when you buy into the orange ass clown? Have you not read a psychology or sociological book? Have you not read Mein Kampf? Have you not read 1984? Have you not read the news? Have you not read any history? Project 2025? You're shocked at this? So you're worried about identity politics on the left, but you're not worried about there is no identity on the right. It's just fucking MAGA. No true conservatives. No sticking to institutions. Just destruction of all. Thanks, Theo. At least you got your clicks. Now he's all upset at that. He's disappointed over the ICE video. You're disappointed over ICE. Wow. Well, I guess you're human then. I think you're not stupid or a sucker, but you definitely got some of that. You're in the manosphere. I don't know. I don't think of men as people that are stupid or suckers. Men are better than that. Women are much better than that, right? But of course, he's pissed because he got on the DHS video. Now he's pissed at well, guess what? Mark Cuban told Theo Vaughn something. And not only that, Theo Vaughn's family, I think, is from Nicaragua originally. They were immigrants. So Central America, don't quote me on Nicaragua, but I know his family was immigrants. Mark Cuban gets on his podcast and goes, dude, you got to grow out of supporting Trump and urge him to start learning the issues. So Mark Cuban comes on your podcast and tells you, I guess you are stupid and a sucker. I'm just going to say it nicely. Maybe you should learn the issues. You can't just buy into Trump because you hate identity politics. Because what are you buying into? The grift. Did you buy some Trump coins? Did you do some anonymous donations so he would be on your podcast? So thanks, Theo. I think you've really helped the manosphere go down the fucking tubes. Maybe they'll go further. Maybe they'll go to Nick Fuentes. Thank you, Theo. Please stick with the Cat Williams jokes. And then, of course, we have, the big stud, the MMA guy. Yeah. I'm going to drink some ivermectin before I do this. I mean, I've got a Red Bull, so I'm kind of on board. I don't do ivermectin. I do Red Bull and vaccines. Pardon me for saying that. I believe in science. I don't believe in RFK Jr. and the conspiracy theorist Joe Rogan. I know he takes really good care of his body. It's impressive. The guy's a stud when it comes to that. I know a lot of fucking people that have got impressive bodies who, if they didn't have shoulders, the head would fall off because they got so much fucking air in it. Joe Rogan, everybody's manosphere hero. Look how famous he is. Look how well he's done. He's a comedian. He's really influenced a lot of comedians. I obviously didn't influence him with his comedy. His comedy sucks. I mean, he's not funny. He just isn't. He's a badass, sure, in MMA, and again, a big supporter of a guy that slaps around his wife at bars. I'm sure Dana White's never touched his wife another time, never. Me understanding domestic violence, if you see it in public, you can it'd be a really good bet. You would have a great parlay to say if they beat somebody in public that they love, there's even a greater chance that they beat them in private or berate them or mentally torture them. Believe me. Joe and Donald Trump. Woohoo! Orange all over both of them. He asked him if he wanted to remove income taxes. This is Joe Rogan interviewing him, and this is the guy who said he supported Joe Rogan because of Elon Musk, the right-wing hate monger who doesn't believe in empathy, who ran Doge and destroyed U.S. aid to save people around the world while increasing ICE and military budget. But anyway, so, Joe Rogan, who I'm sure didn't read Project 2025 and doesn't know shit about William McKinley, but here's Trump saying, and so Rogan said, so you're going to remove income tax. Could you remove income tax to replace it with tariffs? And Donald Trump, his hero, William McKinley, yeah, sure, and praised the 25th U.S. President William McKinley and the U.S. economy of old. Okay? So William McKinley, who ended up getting shot and died, actually regretted tariffs. This was during the robber baron era, or the Gilded Age, which Trump would love because there's lots of gold flake and cheesy shit. That was robber baron era before income taxes. Not a good time for the bottom 95%. But this was the golden era, right? The Industrial Revolution. Everything was great. Children under 10 could work. We didn't worry about fucking taking care of people. We didn't have any labor laws in. That's the best part about America, late 1800s, late 19th century. Of course, it was a failure. They became isolationists. A guy named Teddy Roosevelt came in and said, whoops, this was bad. Get rid of the tariffs. Things got better. He asked him about the debunked 2020 election claims. Trump said, I could provide so many different papers. Of course, he can. That could back his claims of election fraud. Well, maybe he could from his false electors, right? The false state electors that he set up, the fraud, the insurrection, traitorous, Benedict Arnold type shit where people should have been put in jail for lifetimes. You know what they did to fucking traitors way back when? We'll talk about that on a different podcast. It was stolen. Rogan, I guess, believes that. I guess it's okay that a president didn't do a peaceful transition and wants to be president again. That's the guy we're going to believe in. Yay! I won by a lot, I lost by I didn't lose. This is what Trump said. Prompting a laugh from Rogan at the slip-up. It wasn't a slip-up. He knows he lost. He just has to lie to say he won. And sometimes the truth comes out in the middle of a lie with the orange ass clown. He doesn't believe the polls. This is Donald Trump. This is, just read The Road to Autocracy. Read Ann Applebaum. Read Tim Snyder. Read the fucking book. He goes, this is Joe Rogan's podcast. Trump claiming environmental consultants use environmental regulations as a way to benefit themselves and hinder construction projects. Prompting Rogan to note there are legitimate concerns about environmental impacts. There, see, Joe's pretty smart there. I mean, he said something. That's good. We talked about extraterrestrial life, all this other shit. It was the most listened to podcaster for a whopping 3 hours. It was amazing. The ratings were great. I remember Joe talking about how it was on YouTube. Look what I've done. This is awesome. I love this guy. Masculinity for the young male voters. Crude language. It's fine. It's amazing. Is he on with RFK Jr.? Oh, I completely am. He said he'll tell Kennedy to focus on health, do whatever you want. This on Joe Rogan. Kennedy has been instrumental in spreading skepticism about vaccines, rejecting the overall overwhelming consensus among scientists. They talked about economic issues, of course. He's going to do the tariffs or taxes on imports. Yeah, sure, but why not? This was the greatest thing with McKinley. He was a tariff king. He spoke beautifully of tariffs. His language was really beautiful. That worked well as he renamed Denali to McKinley. And he'd speak like that, but he was right. And then around the early 1900s, they switched over stupidly, frankly, to an income tax. Oh, yeah. So the robber baron was great. That's exactly what Donald Trump sees himself in. And he repeated, if I win, this will be my last election. Donald Trump said, on Joe Rogan, not explaining what that means. Of course, now we know what it means. He wants to run again. He wants to dodge the Constitution. He hates. So, again, here we're going on all this. But here's what Rogan says at the end. Right? After his podcast with Donald Trump. Again, stupid or sucker. The great and powerful Elon Musk. If it wasn't for him, we'd be fucked. This is Joe Rogan. He makes what I think is the most compelling case for Trump you'll hear, and I agree with him every step of the way. For the record, yes, that's an endorsement of Trump. Enjoy the podcast, he added. That's Joe Rogan. He also asked, imagine this. Now, Joe Rogan is in great shape. He hangs out with MMA guys. And he asked Donald Trump, who has fake hair, orange makeup all over his face, is as far from fucking looking healthy as anybody. Now, this is stupid and sucker. I mean, this is sucking from the orange ass clown's teeth. I mean, you got orange all over you, Joe. How are you so healthy? To Trump. It's excellent. By his personal. Attributed his good health to genetics, said knowing that his parents were also healthy. That's Donald Trump. Not exercise, not food. His love of golf has helped boost his health and stamina, especially the cart rides. And of course, now what has Joe said? Joe has said, wow, if you can just pick people off the street with immigration like this, you can pick anybody up. That's wrong. You need due process. Wow. This has gone too far. He didn't do what he said he was going to do. He lied to me. Again, how have you ever fallen into a fucking orange well of fucking shit to ever believe anything that came out of his mouth? But thanks, Joe. You have a giant audience that influences kids that stare at their screen way too fucking long as it is, and you help sell this. So you know what? I want to thank you, Theo Vaughn, Andrew Schultz, and Joe Rogan. And maybe you'll be on the next list. Like Kash Patel had his list and said he wouldn't do away with it. Well, maybe we have a list of people that Donald Trump pardoned and people that believed in the lies and promoted the lies, were part of the propaganda. Maybe that's the world we should live in. I think not. But I do want to say thank you. I want to say thank you that we know how Trump got elected. The three of you were a big part of that. So I want to say thank you for putting in executive orders to tariff the country. I want to say thank you for not helping fund SNAP benefits because 69% of those people are kids, elderly, and disabled. I want to say thank you for incarcerating U.S. citizens in gulags on accident without due process. I want to say thank you for blowing up fishermen's boats in Venezuela. Because of you three stupid suckers, you helped our country become this place. I want to say thank you for us hating Canada, the largest land, open land between two countries, undefended, safest place now doesn't feel that way. I want to say thank you for us getting rid of environmental laws. I want to say thank you for the grift, the Trump coin, the deals he's done in Qatar for the $400 million jet, the deals he's done in Vietnam, the grift. I want to say thank you for the hatred that spews from the Heritage Foundation, the Christian nationalist authoritarianism. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Theo. I hope that helps your podcast get more ratings. Maybe you can have Nick Fuentes on your podcast and you can really speak about the core issues that you believe in with the orange ass clown while you sit in fucking Blueberry, Austin, as Greg Abbott takes away voting rights, redistricts, and takes away women's rights in your great state of Texas. I want to say thank you. And that's the way left. Thank you for listening.